Welcome to Let's Be Honest About Logistics. I'm Nicky Jones. I've recruited in the logistics sector for 22 years across the UK, Europe, US, Dubai, Singapore and China. I have guests with me today, Brayden and Michael. Brayden actually set up a company called Launch Fulfilment. They're based over in Utah and Kentucky, and they're also setting up a division now in the UK. Mike is the UK director, and they're here today to share a little bit more about who Launch Fulfilment are, how Brayden came about to be in this industry, and a little bit more about their growth plan and strategy. So thank you both for joining us today. Brayden, you've flown all the way in from Utah.
Yep.
So thank you very much for that. You're only from Harrogate, so not too much of a trek. I really appreciate you joining us today. It's really interesting for me. Fulfillment's an industry that's evolving at a rapid pace at the moment on a sort of day-to-day basis. It does seem to be changing. So what made you get into fulfillment initially, Brayden?
I was actually in packaging sales prior to that, and a lot of my customers in the packaging industry were all fulfillment centers.
Okay.
And so I saw a lot of these guys go from, next to nothing to huge in a 3-4 year period of time. That kind of made me go, okay, e-commerce is the future. I always wanted to start a business, and I actually had the option to buy a fulfillment center that didn't end up working out. But that wet my whistle. That got me focused on this is the industry I want to go in. And so we made the jump. Started a fulfillment center, found some partners, and then the growth was pretty rapid, pretty astronomical from there.
And tell me a little bit more about who Launch Fulfilment are.
Yeah. So I'll talk about the U.S. side and let Mike kind of talk about the U.K. side. So from a U.S. perspective, we are going on to our 7th year of business. We have about 120 employees and 3 locations worldwide. Our main focus is D2C fulfillment, B2B fulfillment. We're omni-channel, so we're very focused on technology and making sure we stay on the forefront. And again, a lot of our rapid growth comes from the fact that we're very partner-focused, right? We are a very filtered fulfillment center, meaning we turn down 90 to 95% of the leads that we get.
Okay,
and we do that because in this industry, you can't take everybody.
No,
right?
You can't be everything to everyone, can you?
And it's a very unique industry where, look, some guys are better at furniture fulfillment, some guys are better at jewelry fulfillment, and some guys or girls are better at your basic fulfillment, and you kind of have to choose your lane and then maximize. And so from a U.S. perspective, that's who we are, and I'll let Mike kind of expand on the U.K.
Yeah, so from a UK perspective, we're very much stick to the same values and mission as the US.
Same company.
Yeah,
same
company.
business, yeah.
But in terms of the UK, we do everything from storage through to B2B fulfillment, through to shipping.
Okay.
Now, what's really impressive about us is we very much position ourselves as premium fulfillment.
Okay, and what exactly do you mean by that?
So premium fulfillment is very much about adding value to our clients. We very much take a partnership approach, and we like to work with clients that we feel that we can scale so they benefit, and in turn we benefit.
Nice. So what are you offering them? Is it that sort of difference in speed, transparency? You're a bit more agile, flexible?
One thing about premium is the baseline in fulfillment is getting it done right.
Yeah.
Right? People often will tout as their value being, I'm X percent accurate. I'm X percent, on time out the door. I'm X percent this. That's baseline.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be 99.99%
that's a basic expectation, like
plus,
you say,
correct?
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who cares? People expect Amazon to get their packages out the door. That doesn't necessarily make Amazon premium, right? What makes Amazon premium, I'll back that up because I don't think Amazon's premium. What makes a fulfillment center premium is when they go beyond the baseline basic things that they have to do to function the brand and help the brand grow. So
Understood.
we actually have a vision statement that says we build and cultivate brands through premium fulfillment, and that's all done through partnership. So it's getting with them and it's saying, okay, I think your product could be better positioned here. I think we can save your shipping and logistics time and money doing it this way. And I think this is a better alternative for your brand.
Okay.
It's focusing on the brand and less on the basic statistics.
So you're also a little bit more consultative, solution focused. You're actually understanding the pain points of the customers rather than just saying this is who we are and what we do, and you're creating a solution for them.
Absolutely, Nikki. And very much we see ourselves going back to partnerships. So if you look at a brand,
Yeah.
you know, they'll have their sales and marketing element, they'll have their procurement, manufacturing element, but then they've got their fulfillment element.
Yeah.
And if fulfillment isn't right, the rest of the pieces fall down.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So, Brayden, we sort of discussed briefly about the sort of premium fulfillment side of what Launch Fulfilment are offering, and it came up in conversation about data enrichment. So, what exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so this is actually Mike's brainchild. This
Okay.
is something that we hadn't really done prior to coming out here and partnering with Mike and his crew out here in the UK. Data enrichment, obviously done, under the correct laws and making sure that we're not violating any privacy rules. It's really beneficial to the brands because it allows brands to see and know their target market, right? So
Okay.
we have a lot of data. We can help our brands understand a lot of that data, and we can even help them target that data with maybe printed mail. Maybe it's something where we can, utilize that data to put an insert into their package that has a targeted hit when that
Okay, so
customer
they can maybe
opens the
segment
package.
their database then
Exactly.
and break it down.
Correct. And you go to a normal fulfillment center, your expectation is ship my packages, right? But that's not premium, right? Little things like data enrichment, little things like helping our clients expand their market. We understand that when they win, we win. And
Yeah.
so we want to use tools to really push that.
Okay. And, sorry, Mike, are you going to say something?
Yeah, it's basically about giving brands the commercial intelligence, to help them sell smarter, grow quicker, and be more profitable.
Yeah, and understand, well, obviously Launch Fulfilment has been around for a number of years, so albeit this is new to the UK, it's not a new business. So you've sort of gone through growing pains and you've probably tried and tested quite a lot of different sort of options and you've gone down different routes to market. So they're getting the benefit of that knowledge and what's been built over in Utah and Kentucky now here in the UK.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. And you also mentioned around personalisation. So I've noticed that's part of your sort of premium service. What does that look like in fulfilment?
Personalisation is where fulfillment really becomes an extension of one's brand.
I'll give a background of how we got into it as well.
Yeah.
And kind of off what Mike's saying there, we got into personalization because we had a couple of suitcase clients that needed monogramming on their suitcase.
Okay.
And these were higher end suitcases, and we were more desperate for business at the time, and decided, all right, we'll give it a try, we'll figure it out. And that ironically led us to hot stamping, to wide web printing that we then do applications onto coolers and other things like that.
Oh, interesting.
But it allows a brand to, similar to the data intelligence and the enrichment that we've been using, to say, hey, look, I've got this awesome product, throw your name on it, and their sales increase. Again, that's a partnership-driven service that we offer.
So are there other companies in the UK, other fulfilment brands that are actually doing this personalisation?
There are, but from our experience, we wouldn't say that they're doing it particularly well.
Okay.
What we're very good at is analysing the data. We're very good at segmenting that data. We're very good at profiling that data.
Okay.
So what we can do is look at customers' current data sets. We can then model that and then look for lookalike data. So you can take that same demographic,
Yeah.
but start to look within other vertical markets. And that's really, really powerful.
Okay, so talking about that sort of data enrichment and personalisation piece, you mentioned that fulfilment can actually be a marketing tool when we were talking through that. That's a bit unexpected. What did you mean by that?
Okay, so usually brands with the customer, the first touch point is when the box arrives at the door.
Yeah.
So that is marketing. So being able to tailor the marketing in a way that it's well received, whether it's a handwritten note in it, whether it's a promotional off the next order, whether it's a subscription service promotion.
So it's that, going back to that personalisation thing, isn't it? A little bit of a USP, a little, a nicer touch.
Or even a custom printed box.
Yeah.
Imagine if you look at the client experience side of that, okay, and everybody here orders something at some point in time every month, right?
Or
if
day.
you get something
every day.
or every day. Yeah, I wasn't going to go there, but imagine the boxes that come to your door start having advertising specific for you, right?
That's
and
valuable,
you open
yeah.
that box and it says, "Hey, Nikki, here's XYZ," right? I mean, that's incredible. It's almost become the new disruption because people are so bombarded with digital advertising that we start to ignore it. It becomes that background noise that we're trying to put behind us. But opening a box is an experience. There's a euphoria that comes with it. And so if you can figure out how to tap into that emotion and really provide them an experience along with that, that's where you can really nail it out of the park.
Yeah, that's interesting. Oof, this is going to be huge. I'm excited. We've also said about bonded warehousing. So we've gone through the sort of personalisation, the data enrichment, etc. That is obviously going to be a huge part of your offering, just from knowing fulfilment and the space that we're currently in. So what are you doing differently in that space?
I see bonded as very much as not a unique selling proposition, but something that not everybody can get. And the reason being is you need to be HMR accredited. You need the right systems. You need the right controls in place to be able to get that certification. Okay. So it's not like everybody that applies for it can get it.
Okay.
And probably less so within the fulfillment world because of the complexities, the nature, the products in, the products out. It needs to be a very controlled. So we would say that in terms of the systems that we use, really helps us have that control over people's stocks, which also satisfies HMRC.
Okay, interesting. And then you said about international brands. So it's a bit of a game changer from an import and export perspective then, isn't it?
Oh, massively. For example, if you're bringing in from China, which a lot of the UK market is, it comes into the UK, tax and duties are applicable on when that enters into the UK.
Yeah.
However, with bonded, it comes into the UK and the tax and duties aren't applicable to the point that that's been put into free circulation, i.e. sold.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So what that really helps is in terms of cash flow. So you've got suspended VAT, you've got suspended duty. Then when that goes into sale, then that's when it becomes applicable. Another thing what's very good about bonded is when you do put that into free circulation, you can then apply post-accounting VAT.
Right.
Which means that the client or the brand potentially isn't actually outlaying any money on the VAT because it gets accounted for on the VAT quarterly ledger.
Oh, so if it's smaller to medium-sized companies that are looking to build, grow, scale at pace, this is an option for them to help keep cash in their pocket. We know cash is king when these small companies are trying to get to that next level.
Yes.
So this could be a nice option for them.
Great.
Well, and even if you think it in terms of a large company, good examples, we have one company that's doing about 100 million pounds turnover, right? But a large company may have access to cash flow via lines of credit, via debt, but that comes with a cost, right? So then you look at this and you say, okay, well, what's my factoring rate in all of this? What am I paying in interest just to float my cash? This particular brand with 100 million, I believe our savings and cash flow are around 2 million pounds per year.
On the VAT? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry,
That's what you save them. You save them 2 million.
Absolutely. Well, just in free circulation cash flow, right? So then you put an interest rate on that. And then you have the double duty element. So like Mike said, if these guys were bringing it into the UK and then shipping it out to the Republic of Ireland, there's a double duty that happens there. Pay it once in the UK, once when it goes into Ireland. Well, we've calculated, you're looking close to 500,000 plus pounds just in duty deferral. So when you break it down for any brand size, it makes sense. if you are going to be a multi-country distribution brand.
Are there many companies actually offering this solution in the UK?
Yes, there are. However, it's very much in the minority.
So just as an overview then, I mean, this is exciting times because you're new to this business. You've obviously had a number of years' experience within logistics. What made you want to personally get involved on this journey with Brayden, scaling up in the UK?
I've been in logistics since 2011. 5 years ago, I started my own business as, in effect, a logistics agent working on behalf of brands and suppliers. And then very much putting myself in the middle of that relationship.
Okay.
The business got very successful very quickly, but I thought it was time to look at diversifying.
Okay.
And in terms of complementary businesses to logistics, fulfillment seemed like the perfect fit. However, it's not that easy just to go and get yourself a 140,000 square foot shed. Yeah. It's not very easy to get the software, and it's really, really, really difficult to get the knowledge and the architecture to be able to do fulfillment. So I was really fortunate enough to be introduced to Brayden and the team at Launch Fulfilment Incorporated. And then we just started having a bit of a chat about, you know, where I'd come from, what these guys were looking to do, how they're looking to expand globally. And we both came to the decision that, you know, our two forces joining as one would be a perfect fit.
Very good. Do you agree with that, Brayden?
Oh, yeah. No, and ironically, you know, we had plans to come out to the UK market. We were going to buy 2 different facilities.
Okay.
Turned down the first. We're at terms with the second. And then we got an email from Mike basically saying, hey, hold tight. I got an option here that could be great. And so we evaluated that. And that's been about a year's journey just to get operational. And so, you know, we've got clients that are transacting and cash flowing out here. A lot of our brands in the U.S. are trying to get out to this UK market. And vice versa. Brands in the UK that want to come out to the US market. And so really for us, I would say this is one of the most symbiotic relationships. I don't know I would attack any other English-speaking countries outside the US.
Interesting.
You know, but I feel like the UK market's very strong, and I feel like it's well poised to get into Europe and have strong growth.
And have you had good traction? You know, obviously you're offering a slightly more bespoke solution from a fulfillment perspective than what we've sort of historically seen. So what's the feedback coming back from the sort of customers you've engaged with in the early days?
Very positive.
Good.
Probably because we take this partnership approach. We don't look at it as a transactional buyer-supplier relationship. We look at it in very much on how can we help you?
Yeah.
Where do you want to go? And by taking that approach, you know, businesses are going, great, you know, these guys want to help us grow. Let's help them grow in the same time. So
Well,
That's another mindset in the minority.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. And especially when companies are starting out, you know, in the space, whether it's, I don't know, e-commerce or vitamins, retail, whatever it may be, apparel, minerals. Some of these companies, they don't have that knowledge. They've had an idea and they want to have their own business. They see people are probably making quite a lot of money at it, but to have the sort of option to sort of come on board your journey with X amount of years experience, both of you from a logistics and Brayden specifically a fulfillment perspective, that's sort of them having a business partner in essence, isn't it? From day one. You can understand their growth plan, their strategy. Brayden, I'm sure, has made mistakes. He's had businesses before and learned from that. But these are people coming fresh out of the gate. So to have a partnership like that with somebody like the two of you, I'm assuming they're finding that pretty valuable.
yeah, it is. And I think you touched on the point. Brayden's gone through a lot of the growing pains.
Yeah.
We're just getting all the benefit.
Well, you are.
Yeah, so
It's mutual in a lot of ways because, excuse me, different countries have different laws, and logistics is a compliance game, right? And it has been huge for, you know, and I say this to any fulfillment center looking to get outside the United States, you have to have boots on the ground. You absolutely have to have boots on the ground. If you think that you can get into another country and not have experts in that market to teach you taxes, banking systems, how their logistics flow works, how their post office talks to you. It's all the little things that make it so mutually beneficial. So yes, we come with a certain set of knowledge. Mike comes with a certain set of knowledge, and together I think that's where we can be successful.
Yeah. And are you enjoying it, Mikey?
Absolutely. That said, it is like 100 miles per hour every day. And you meet different brands, different requirements, different needs, so it's really, really great and really enjoying it.
Good. And what are you finding when you're talking to these customers? What is their biggest pain point? What's their biggest bugbear from a fulfillment perspective?
Do you know what? Losing money is the first one. Some are saving money,
Right.
but not many are actually making money.
Oh, okay.
And that's where
Interesting.
we feel that we can help. Yeah.
So because this is a little bit more bespoke around the premium piece, the data enrichment, the personalisation, you're giving these customers, in essence, new routes to market from a revenue perspective, aren't you?
Yeah, Mike's actually touching on something that we say, which is a bad fulfillment center loses you money, right? Because they're losing packages, they're messing things up, they're messing around with your inventory numbers, and that's as good as cash, right? A good fulfillment center saves you money, okay? So they prevent you from losing all of those things. But a great fulfillment center or a premium fulfillment center like we poised to be makes you money, okay? So that means whether it's the bespoke options that they're giving or the connections that they have to maybe manufacturers or better insurance companies or whatever, your fulfillment center should be your partner. And if it's anything but that, and you're okay with that, that's fine. But if not, you're missing out. You're not getting the money that you could get.
And where is the fulfillment centre in the UK? Is it Midlands based?
No.
Oh, where is it?
It's in the northeast, just south of Sunderland, in a
Interesting.
in a lovely place called Seaham.
Very nice.
And we strategically picked that place because it's got very good routes. So it's just off the A1 and A19, and also we're very close to two ports. So so we can have stuff shipped, taken off ships, and basically brought into a warehouse within an hour.
And what size was that? Did you say it's about 140,000 square foot?
Yeah, so the size 140,000 square foot.
Yeah.
And we are able to carry between 12 and 14,000 pallets.
Wow, okay. And have you got capacity left? Obviously, the audience are going to be watching thinking, can we get on board with this? What's happening?
Well, for the right customer, we'll try and make it work. One of the big things in fulfillment that I'd like to talk about is, and I don't really know the wording, but is being able to promote other brands or complementary brands through your own brand. So what that means is
Collaborations.
Because
Okay, interesting.
so a whiskey manufacturer or a whiskey brand that we work with, might have a collaboration with a premium cigar brand.
Right, okay.
And if they're able to utilize each other's data, both benefit without actually spending that much on the marketing campaign.
And do you educate these people once they're on board and they're a partner? So would you, because people in the audience will be looking at this thinking, oh God, I love the sound of it, but how do we get on board with that? How does it work?
Yeah, and it goes back to the data enrichment. We're able to look at segments of product types, and then we're able to look at other segments of product types. And then if we start to feel through analysing that there is a collaboration or a mutual type of customer, we can all collaborate together.
So you would proactively, if you were looking at assessing the data from this data enrichment piece and thinking, actually, there could be something to be done here, you would proactively engage with your customer, your partner, and say, listen, we spotted a trend here. We think there might be something to be done from a partnership perspective.
And you said it again, partnership, So, and we're very proactive at that, because we want both brands to succeed. Because they succeed, we succeed. So, and it's just very much all part of our ecosystem.
Very good.
Yeah, and we've had a good example of this where we had a perfume brand and we had a women's skincare brand, and they worked together, and both of them saw basically a boost for that month of about 30%.
Wow.
So just using each other's data,
Yeah.
but then also targeting each other's targeted market with a brand they already trust, right? They may trust the brand on this side and on this side. Well, now you guys can work together to build trust with those clients together, and it's successful. We've seen it multiple times.
I don't know anyone that's got that offering, to be honest.
Yeah,
In
I
the
don't think
UK,
fulfillment
for
centers
sure.
are facilitating it.
Wouldn't
but
normally
yeah.
be something that you would associate with fulfillment, would it? Like you say, that's more so marketing or, your brand awareness or your brand managers.
And also, if brands do have that demographic, they can go and make more revenue by going to complementary brands and saying, look, we'll get you some free advertising, or we'll get you advertising to the right audience,
Yeah.
but that will come at a cost.
Yeah.
So it's potentially another stream of revenue for them.
That's really interesting. So you've obviously enjoyed this journey.
Yes.
Where are you? Are you sort of 12, 18 months in currently?
So, yeah, we're currently 12 months in. We've had some very good growth. We've had some very good brands, top blue chip brands that are working with us.
Can you tell us?
One of them's a cartoon mouse.
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
Nice. So you're getting some great exposure and sort of partners on board. I'll ask you individually. So what's your vision, Mikey, for this business?
My vision is to continue learning, continue growing, continue to make money, continuing to meet people. And this is the perfect platform in our ecosystem to be able to do that.
And I know, obviously, I was talking to you earlier, Brayden, and you're looking at a £20 million investment into Launch Fulfilment. Is that across the US and the UK?
Correct. Yeah, as we look at our revenue growth going into next year, that's what we've anticipated. And the
Okay.
UK plays a big part of that. I'd say, if we can get the UK up to about a £5 million turnover by next year, I think we're doing well. I think we're pacing to kind of hit that direction. And realistically, I'd love to see the UK get up to £50 million.
Yeah.
I think
okay.
it's highly achievable. It's a great market. Bonded is huge. Personalization's huge. But additionally, I think success for me looks like successfully copying and pasting what we know works in America, right? And that's not always easy to do, regardless of whether they speak English.
Yeah.
It's a different culture, right? And I would love to see that element of greatness be transitioned across the pond because I do feel that this industry is lacking it.
Yeah.
And really, to be great in this industry, you just got to be slightly better. And you see a lot of people just balk at that because it's hard work. It's a difficult industry. But I think if we can successfully copy and paste the methods we're seeing over here, I will feel that we've succeeded.
Yeah, and that effectively is a blueprint, isn't it? You've
Absolutely.
had those successes.
Scalability.
You've got the scalability. You know what works. You know what good looks like. You know about the partnership piece. So I think it's exciting times moving forward. What are you going to need recruitment-wise?
Probably plenty.
If you could find another me.
Another you, Mikey.
that'd be great.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Who, obviously, I'll sort of direct this to you, Brayden, because I know that you're the one that sort of founded this business over in Utah. Who would you say were your biggest mentors growing up?
I think there are a lot of people I can point to. I would say one of my biggest inspirations was actually my aunt.
Okay.
Yeah, she was both my aunts were self-starting entrepreneurs. One actually had a huge doll company with the Franklin Mint, and so that got very large. My other aunt, though, my whole family on that side was immigrants from France.
All right.
Went to Venezuela, went to Chicago, ended up in California, and she just really worked her way from the ground level as a personal assistant at Universal Studios to the director of marketing.
All right.
And then, VP of marketing, and then she went from there to actually starting her own business that was highly successful. So I've always looked at her as a very focused, motivated, she always spoke her mind, but she was always kind.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say always kind, but she always spoke her mind at the very least. Yeah, it's unfortunate because she died prior to me starting my business. And
She didn't see.
No, she died of cancer at about 62, so she was pretty young. But there are plenty of times where I sit back and I go, man, if I could just have a conversation with her, see her perspective on this, going through a difficult time here, how would you have handled it? But she is one of many people that have helped and inspired me through this journey, because anyone thinks that they're going to get into this business and it's going to be easy, they are wrong.
Yeah.
When I went to go start my fulfillment center, I had a customer of mine who was a good friend, and I went to him and I said, hey, look, if you can just teach me the ropes, like Mike said, that lack of knowledge it's very overwhelming. I said, I'll sign a non-compete, I won't bug you, I won't do anything like that. And he sat back in his chair and he looked at me and he said, you don't want to be in this business.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm thinking, okay, you're just trying to distract
Put me off.
deter me, Fast forward, and I know exactly what he was talking about. Mm-hmm. Because this is a business where if you are not 100%, you're zero. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. You have to be extremely accurate and extremely quick. And customers expect, because, in America, the American people expect. And in the UK population expects. And so there's a high degree of excellence that's required from a fulfillment center. So this is not a easy industry.
No.
I don't think any business is easy, but there are easier businesses out there. But it's highly rewarding if you can do it successfully.
Yeah. And Mikey?
My mentors.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I've been really privileged in my, life to have worked with, entrepreneurs, business owners, inventors, people that think outside the box, my friends, my family. But yeah, my one of my biggest mentors is probably my dad, just because he's got absolutely one of the best work ethics I've ever seen. And then closely followed up is actually my two boys, just because they kind of keep me current.
Yeah.
They're always testing me, with the homework, whether it's maths, whether it's business studies.
Yeah.
I mentioned current. I know some of the current with technology.
Yeah.
They're always going about the new technology that's coming to the market, but also, the kind of current slang, like, everything's Sigma
Are you down with the kids?
or Riz, yeah. And do you know what? And it's just really, everybody keeps me on my toes, but I'm always learning, and I just love it, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good to know. What's the best piece of advice either of you have ever been given about business? Start with you, Brayden.
Trying to decide if I want to go off for a single event or, let's see. I would say the best advice I've ever been given is to practice mindfulness. And, for those who don't understand what that term actually means, it's being able to look at a situation and extract emotion out of it and put it to the side.
Yeah.
Especially in business and fulfillment, you have a million points of failure, and on a daily basis, some of those points go wrong, right? And so you have to be able to look at things for what they are and not with emotion. You have to be able to cut it out and say, okay, how do we solve this problem? What's our next move forward? How do we prevent this problem in the future, right? And emotion drowns that capability. So if you want to have a business that scales quickly,
Yep.
you're going to have problems. And you need to be able to overcome those problems and move on with minimal hit to your psyche, I should say.
Yeah, true. And what about you, Mikey?
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
I knew you were going to say that.
When did you hear that, Mike?
Do you know what? Some guy just randomly met it. No.
Some American guy.
Yeah, some American guy. No, I think the one that always sticks out in my mind is my first boss, who was he was the co-founder of Pace Microtechnologies.
Right.
And he said to me repeatedly, is keep your friends on the way up, because you won't know if you need them on the way back down. And just by having that, keeping friendly, keeping true, keeping professional, with everybody is just it pays dividends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you. No, it's clearly a tough game, otherwise everyone would be doing it. What would you say keeps you both sort of motivated and productive on a sort of daily basis?
Brayden calling me, asking me where we're up to with sales.
That's a quick one.
Yeah, fear is what motivates me.
Yeah. You run faster when you're getting chased.
Yeah.
No. I'll let you go, Brayden, first, yeah.
To be great. To be honest, that's what.
So you're always pushing for that next sort of.
At some point in time, you'll achieve the money goals you have, right? As long as you can learn to, be wise with your money, the money's money. It doesn't. To me, it's not the driver. Obviously, it's a big portion of the why. I want to be able to sit back, and I actually have a personal mission statement, and my personal mission statement is to inspire greatness and leave a legacy.
Okay.
Right. So those two things for me will get me to the end of my life and make me say, okay, I've done everything I need to do. I'll build businesses. I'll be successful here. I'll be successful there. That is what it is. But if I can leave a good legacy, if I can help others achieve greatness, then I've done my life's mission.
Yeah, that's a good mission statement. And do you think, obviously you've got children, which I'm sure they're part of your why.
Yeah.
Do you think they would want to sort of get on board this journey with you? Is that something important to you, to get the children
Not
within
this
the company?
journey particularly,
No?
but I believe a journey, absolutely. And I'm always looking to inspire my children, whether you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to be a mom or you want to, work in an office on a daily basis, that's totally fine. You don't need to do huge things to be great. You just need to be great where you are, right? And that's my focus with my children is to say, my daughter plays on a soccer team and she plays on the A team. And I always say, whenever she's whining about practicing at home or whatever, and she does a very good job, I always say, well, if you want to be on the B team, you can work less, And that's just a little, look, choose where you want to be. I'm not going to force you, but if you want to be great, these are the things that you have to do to get there. And there is no easy way around it.
No, well, that's the thing. It's giving that extra. That's the thing that a lot of people don't go that extra mile. That's all it takes, isn't it? Just a little bit
more than the rest of the people. Yep.
Yeah. What about you, Mikey?
I don't want to say, but yeah, it's all about money. Because it'd be a really, really bad hobby if it was. Let me think.
Mike's like, what else motivates?
No, I'm trying to think what does.
But you clearly want to be a part of something, something bigger. You've always worked for companies, whether it be a multinational, and you've sort of been a number. You've not really been able to put your own stamp on something. And now you two have forged this great sort of partnership and you've got a voice here.
Yeah, what motivates me is the fact that I can put my thoughts into practice. So, previous to starting my own business, I was always had to read the company handbook and act in a company's way. And I used to see opportunities left, right, centre, but, it was never really tabled because the business had a very much a strategy. Whereas when becoming a business owner, and what's really kept me motivated is if I do get an idea, I can actually physically test it and see if it works. And luckily, a lot of the ideas that I've had, from bonded through to personalization, through to let's move into fulfillment, through to let's find the right partners, through to have all really worked. Data enrichment. So yeah, it's really having that idea and being able to stress test it.
You can put your stamp on this, coming away from that corporate brand, red tape, unionisation. You're in an environment now where you can make a difference.
Oh, definitely. But it's even in terms of how, like processes, how can that be shortened? How can that be easier? How can it be less labour intensive? It's all stuff like that I like to really, really challenge and look at. And don't get me wrong, I'm not right all the time, but when I am right, it works.
It works.
Mike's got great ideas. Yeah. That's for sure. Definitely one of his strengths.
Well, that's good to know. Is there anything else you want the audience to know about your business? This is obviously a platform for you to position where Launch Fulfilment are in the UK, your ambitions, your growth plan, what makes you different.
I'd like Brayden to answer that, if that's all right.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is trying to think of a way we can pitch this without being all us-based. How we can include the clients in this in some way, shape, or form.
Well, it is the partnership piece, isn't it?
And I'd say one bit of advice is get into, if you're a brand, engage with a fulfillment center when the time is right, right? What I see a lot of brands do often is they'll attempt to toss it to a fulfillment center right from the get-go.
Okay.
That's expensive, and that's also out of your control. There's an element of learning your brand before you hand it off. My CFO says, no involvement, no engagement, right? Okay. In other words, if you don't involve me, I'm not engaged. If you don't understand what your client should be feeling when they receive a box, because you've never packed your client's box, you don't fully understand your brand.
Okay.
So fulfillment is a scale business. It is something where you say, look, I'm done packing these things up in my house. I need to finally have a fulfillment center that's going to take things to the next level. But I see way too many brands shoot out of the gate and miss, right? Now, do some people have major funding? Can some people explode right out of the gate? Absolutely, sure. But it's rare. So what I would recommend to anybody watching who's maybe in a brand position is figure it out yourself first. From there, when you finally have a proven concept and you're ready to get to the next level, that's when you engage with the fulfillment center. And going back to that principle that we said, the fulfillment center you partner with should be your partner.
Yeah.
It should not just be a random vendor. Take your time to scope it. You can destroy your business with a bad fulfillment center. I have seen it happen. I've seen brands go under because the fulfillment center destroyed their online presence. You think people talk so much in today's world. If a fulfillment center goes out and gets 40% of your orders wrong, social media is going to know about it.
You've
Right.
got a lot of control when you think about it like that. Your fulfillment partner has a lot of control over your company, doesn't it?
A massive amount. And if you jump too early at a non-reputable fulfillment center, it can cost your business the entire business, right? Additionally, lost inventory, right? Inventory is as good as money. And so I would highly recommend that anybody looking to get to partner in this market really takes their time, really scopes, asks other brands who's successful, who's working, who's not working, and then make sure that they have the right intentions. Because if they don't intend to be your partner, there are plenty of fulfillment options.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just going back to what you were saying at the beginning of the podcast, Brayden, where you said obviously you sort of landed on something, it didn't quite work, and then you got into Launch Fulfilment. What do you think you learned from that? What was the turning point where you thought, I'm going to switch this off, it's not right, and you went again?
I wasn't happy.
Right.
I'd say I that was the biggest thing is obviously money was a factor, right? I remember one month where I was supposed to make about $14,000. I ended up making about $600.
Right, okay.
Right. And I had bills to pay. I was a full-time single parent, and I had all this stuff. But to what Mike said earlier, it's that feeling of I can't access my full potential in my current situation.
Okay.
If I stay where I'm at, I'm always going to be at the same level of happiness. And to anyone who wants to start a business, it will be the hardest but most rewarding thing that you ever do in your entire life, right? I will never work for somebody again.
No.
If something happens and all this goes south tomorrow and everything gets lost, well, then I'll find another business to start.
Again.
Absolutely. Because it's the hardest thing I've ever done, but it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done.
Did you switch off quickly? Yeah, so you knew straight away if you were in or out, and you didn't sort of procrastinate, and you thought this is done, and then moved on.
Well, the irony of that is when I first started this business, I have a current business partner who is my best friend. I'd consider him a brother. I had another business partner prior to that, and we set up a meeting with a guy who was a serial entrepreneur. He had taken 2 companies public, very sharp person, and we sat down with him at lunch just to get his advice. The 3 of us did. And we were going to have my current business partner work in the business while my other business partner and myself were working full time.
Okay.
And when we told this guy that, he said, "You're not planning to work in your business full time?" And I said, "Well, we got to get the revenues to the point where it makes sense and where we can do this." And he said, "If you're not willing to work in your business full time, then your business will fail." He just said it as clear as that. I thought, okay, well, what do you mean by that? He said, "You have to burn your ships. You have to burn the ships and move in." Well, after that dinner, and the other thing he said is, well, financially, if there's a will, there's a way. If you guys want to raise the money, you can raise the money, whether it's debt, whether it's equity, whatever you need to do. Well, after that lunch, I think we had 2 different responses. My current business partner and I thought, he's right. We've got to be all in on this thing. Our other business partner felt that I think we can still kind of move our plan. Well, fast forward, that other business partner is no longer with the business, and my current business partner and I are growing things heavily. You have to be committed.
So you had no plan B. You were all in.
We were all in. And I remember January 1 of 2020 was the year that I quit my other position and moved into fulfillment full time. And I remember the night before, just so much stress and anxiety and fear, thinking, what the heck am I doing? My daughter's sleeping down the hall. I've got a house and mortgage to pay and all this. But you know what? That desperation creates greatness. Because if everything's on the line, you'll be amazed how much 2 people can do. And when we started the business, it was my business partner and I on $50 laptops on a folding table in a borrowed warehouse from our other, investors at the time. And to see it, balloon over 120 employees and 500,000 square feet across the world and millions of orders shipped every year in such a short period of time, it's all commitment, work, and drive, right? And none of that comes if you're half in, half out.
No. Are you all in, Mikey?
Yeah. Just come back to when I started the journey, because I was kind of where Brayden's previous partner was thinking.
Oh, okay.
I was going, can I do this as a side hustle?
Right.
Can I keep on PAYE and have this running in the background? But the one thing and it was actually my dad that said to me, he goes, if you can't back yourself, who can you back? And that just stuck. And and then next day, resignation letter went in. It was, at the time, it was probably not the best timing because literally when I started the business, Brexit happened.
Right.
So, and the majority of my sales were in international and all the troubles. And I remember picking up the phone, cold calling, and everyone's going, we're not doing international, we're not. So I was going, next. And then I was literally in bed like Brayden was in the early days, like sweating, sleeping. What have I done? I've left a brilliant job. They like me. It was all going. And then I thought, and then it just came to me. It's like, well, let's get back to sales 101. Why aren't they shipping?
Yeah.
And then that's when I then rehashed all those people that had told me no and then started asking well, why?
Yeah.
How? And then overnight I became very proficient on understanding the legislation in terms of, and in our first year we grew from 0 to like 3.2 million in terms of revenue, which is amazing.
From a standing start as well.
So yeah, but I still have the sleepless nights. It's just for different reasons, other reasons.
No, that's more so the time difference.
Yeah.
Brayden checking in.
Exactly.
Oh dear. What?
God, those sleepless nights. Do you know what? You
Cold
can't.
fear.
It is.
Cold fear.
You wake up and it's the questions you ask yourself and the whys, and you're like, and then you're trying to remain positive, but there's a little, noise in the back of your head going, oh,
So many businesses fail.
Yeah, exactly. Then your family are telling you the businesses
Get a proper
fail
job.
within, get a proper job. Your kids are going, what are you doing? I was like, it was a worrying time, but you know what? You've just got to stick to the plan. You got to trust and believe in yourself. And as Brayden said earlier, it's amazing what you can do when that amount of uncertainty, pressure, the money, everything's on you.
Failure is not an option.
Yeah.
You cannot fail.
Cannot
and
fail.
it is, and this is why people in these positions, they give that extra 1% because you've took that risk. It is the risk and reward. You've given up salaries.
Giving
you've
up
got
safety.
Safety. You've got bills to pay. This would have taken a good 3, 4, 5, 6 months before you started seeing a return. So
It's a bit like when you see bank holidays when you're a business owner, or
it's-
Labour Day. You're just going, that is a day where I'm not going to earn any money.
Yeah.
But I've got to pay people for the day off.
because your mentality shifts.
Yeah.
Totally changes.
I've obviously been self-employed nearly 20 years now.
Yeah.
So unless I'm billing, I'm not earning. And my son's 18. He's getting into the world of work. He's like, Mum, so I'm going to get this salary. And he's like, what happens if you don't get paid?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we're not paying our bills. And it's like, but even if you have like a bad week or a month, you still get your salary, won't you? It's like, I don't get a salary. It's like, if I'm not
The
billing and
concept
doing
is-
the jobs, and he's like, whoa, he's like, that's weird, Mum. Why would you do that? But he's starting to learn. But obviously I wouldn't have it any different because we can make our own choices. I believe in our solution and what we're selling. I've got partners and clients that have been with me for 15, 20 years now. So it's primarily repeat business. But it was tough, 80, 100 dials a day back in the day because if you don't get that vacancy, you're not going out, you're not paying your rent, you're not doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's when greatness happens.
But that's it, yeah.
You can't make diamonds without pressure.
No, that's
And
it.
I always say in our business, we are making diamonds, right? Whether by creating Launch Fulfillment into a diamond, I'm going to create thousands of diamonds below it, right? And that's my ultimate hope, is that by people subscribing to greatness, they then become great themselves.
And it's an interesting opportunity because you're clearly investing heavily into this business, not just in the UK, but, obviously what you've got going on over in the US. In terms of, I know we sort of laugh about recruitment, I'm not plugging this here, but what will you be looking for in an individual? So obviously, Brayden, you've been in this space for a long time. You've been specifically in the logistics sector for 11 plus years. What are you going to be looking for in people that want to sort of get on board this journey and like the sound of what you're all about?
Yeah, the biggest thing that we look for when we're looking for especially leadership level positions, right? Because you can look for different things at different positions. There has to be a core character, right? But to me, it all comes down to character. I think of my executive team, and none of my executive team, when they came on board, said, I want a big fat salary, and I'll take it no other way. You give me a big fat salary because I know what I'm worth, right? Instead, what they all said was, let me prove my worth because I know I'm worth this salary. So I'm willing to come in, start here. Maybe we have a little play on equity. That's an earn-out function. And really, I want to focus on bonuses. What that tells me is
Back themselves.
I believe in myself. Correct. When somebody comes walking in the door and says, I need $250,000 a year because that's what I'm worth, that's a big red flag, right? Sure, you may be worth that, but I don't know that. Nor do I believe that. And every time I've taken that chance, it's failed, right? Every time I bet on an employee that's willing to bet on themselves, it succeeds. And so to me, that is a core character to say, entitlement is not what I need. Let me prove to you what I'm worth through my actions. And I believe everyone should get paid what they're worth.
Yeah.
But I also believe there should be an element of earning that within the business.
What do you...
Yeah, similar to Brayden. However, I really like people to be committed. I want them to see this as, they'll spend most of their living life in work.
Well, more so than with their families, really,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
in the early days.
And I want them to, if something's not right, shout up about it. I want them to, be passionate about what they do. I want them to, I want them to enjoy. And you know what? More than anything, I want work to be like fun.
Yeah.
And that just creates a really nice culture. And, it's not, the weekend's over, it's Monday. It's the weekend's over, great, I get to go back into work. But I want people to embrace the culture. And
that is
committed.
important, and like you say, you're on a journey here. Have you got a funny story in the last sort of 12 to 18 months from actually setting this up in the UK?
Well, the funny story, and we were just talking about this earlier on today, we actually met in a Starbucks coffee shop in Doncaster.
Why were you there?
Yeah, well, we were. It is actually funny to look full circle on how we came to this point, but we had gone to a trade show in the UK just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
That was successful, and sitting right next to my business partner, who was the first to come over and attend, was actually another small fulfillment center.
Okay.
Very nice individual who owned that facility, and he kind of said, "Hey, look, if you guys are thinking of coming out here, I've got this great airport at Doncaster that, I'm in with the city pretty well. Why don't you guys come out and visit?" So we decided to fly out again, and at that point, that's when we were introduced to Mike and Paul, who's his other business partner and our other business partner. And, we didn't really think much of it from there. And then that ended up not going through, but I was still like, all right, the UK is where we got to go. The UK is where we got to go. And one element of it, and I remember Mike's head just getting roasted. I remember it being a beautiful sunny day, because it always is. It always is when I'm here in the UK. That's not an arrogance thing. That's a reality thing for some reason. But anyways, from there it's just funny to see how we were going to go buy another site, and right as we're getting ready to pull that trigger. I think I said, but Mike reached out at that point in time. So it was just one angle that led to another, that led to another, that led to this here.
But everything happens for a reason, doesn't it? I do believe in that.
Yeah. It's funny, but we'd been looking at projects, and those projects had been closed. The door had been closed on us on those projects, and I remember me and Paul sat there, kind of a bit necked out, and we'd invested a bit of time to try and bring these opportunities forward in the logistics space, and then literally the next day it's
you're in Starbucks.
Literally in Starbucks.
Next to some warehouses.
Yeah, going, who are these Americans? Yeah. But and then it just seemed everything seemed to fall into place. It felt coincidental, but you make your own luck in life, and it just all happened, and it's just really nice, but also quite funny when we look back about
from Utah to Doncaster.
Yeah.
And you live in Harrogate.
We've become friends at this point in time, And,
well, that's a good foundation, though, isn't it? And just understanding what each of you are all about, really.
And the other, other little stories is I would have never in my wildest dreams have ever visited Utah,
Have you been there now?
I've been to Utah, and I absolutely love it. It's brilliant. I can't think of a more beautiful place in the world. It's fantastic. And
Mike got all of his American urges out.
Yeah, I
went hiking, rode side by sides, shotguns,
yeah. Wow. Eating American fast food. It was brilliant, and and really great company as well. So and again, it's also good when we went to go and see the sites to see how they operate. And again, there's quite a few miles between us, so it's good to see, how things are managed and, whether it's the same, whether there's similarities, whether it's different. And it was really, really, really cool. So, yeah.
You can see from that blueprint that we referred to previously what this is going to be in the UK. And I'm assuming, knowing you both now, you've got your sights set on other warehouses, other sort of locations. So do you want to share a little bit more about that?
I'll let Brayden share that one.
Yeah, this is always the golden question. I think our goals are that we open one site per year. 2026 is going to be a settling year, but 2027, 2028, and 2029, we're going to be opening sites. Europe's always a discussion point, right? There's lots of options there. Bonded helps us get into Europe in a lot of ways without needing a site. The Northeast in the United States is always a talking point. Canada is always a talking point. Australia has been a talking point many times.
Okay.
So I think there's core markets that we're looking at, and ultimately it all comes down to what do our partners need, right? And we ask our partners on a consistent basis, where would you guys like us to go? And I would say the Northeast is the biggest yes, and then I would say Europe is probably number 2 after that.
Was that a part of the UK launch with Launch Fulfilment? Were you getting customers in the US saying, we want you to have a centre over in the UK?
Yeah, until we opened it, and then it was like pulling teeth to get them to do. They were all for
said.
it. You said this, and here we are. No, they are very interested. It's just they have to get everything registered, move over. But we had about 8 customers.
Nice.
That really said, that's a good market. We want to explore it. We want to open it up. And we're starting to see those customers trickle over this way as we've gotten things established and started moving in that direction.
And also from our perspective, meeting UK brands, they're wanting to expand in the US.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, actually, that cross-border piece as well.
It's big.
Yeah.
It's big.
It's
an additional 80 million people, or an additional 330 million people, depending on which side of the pond you're on.
Very good. Well, we always end our podcast with some quick fire questions. Are you both happy?
Oh, yeah.
go for it.
There's nothing crazy. Now, how shall we do it? Shall I just ask one-on-one, or are you just both going to answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Morning person or night owl?
Morning person.
You're going to say both, aren't
I'm like
you now?
right in between. I like go to bed at a reasonably late time and wake up at a reasonably early time. That's what I say.
it.
So
Dogs or cats?
dogs.
Cats.
Mike's a city guy.
Yeah.
I'm more
That's it.
country folk.
They look after themselves. They're great.
What is your most used emoji?
The fist pump.
Man, I don't use much emojis. I got to think back to the last one I used. I'd say probably that really like sarcastic straight line
Straight face.
Just that like, all right, okay,
Okay. Was that to Mikey?
Always.
Mostly to my wife, I think.
Favourite holiday destination?
Well, hopefully it'll be this winter in Utah.
Yeah.
Can expense that now.
No. Do you know what? I really like hot countries, and I've been privileged enough to be able to go to Mauritius a few times, and I just love, the culture, the food, the nice weather, the sand that's like silk.
Okay.
I like it, but again,
You're not on a podcast for travel. You're selling the dream for the Maldives.
it's
He's like, and
definitely
you can
not.
get there for 900 pounds.
It's definitely not English Square in Benidorm.
No.
Australia, hands
Oh,
down.
wow.
Only
I've
other
never been to
country.
Australia.
Yeah, only other country I'd live in tomorrow.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay. What is the one food you could eat every day?
Curry.
Curry.
Yeah.
Why are the men saying curry?
Because it's meaty.
It's
Meat and
manly.
rice. Yeah, it's meat and rice. Man, that's a good question. I'd say for me, bread. I could eat bread every day. I love baguettes. I love bread. Every day with every meal, I could have some element of bread.
Very good. Is there a guilty pleasure you are willing to admit on air?
Well, yeah, just recently I've really got embraced in the world of fantasy football league.
Okay. I didn't know if we're going to need to censor that then.
But yeah, so I'm spending probably a bit too much time on an evening trying to, strategize my, week
fantasy
games.
football.
Yeah, my fantasy football, and it doesn't make any difference the amount of time that I put into it because I'm still currently residing at the bottom of our internal league.
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing it collectively?
Yeah, as a business. So we have.
I don't know what's good. My son obviously is involved in this, but he's 18. But the amount of chairmen, CEOs, MDs, and they're like, Nicky, can you ring me back? I'm just doing this. It's like, this is a joke, surely.
Yeah,
It's like they're all in.
Yeah, it's crazy because you start rooting for teams
you
that
don't
your
care
players
for.
are on
Yeah,
that you would
yeah.
have never ever have cared either way, and you're like, come on, we need those 3 points, and you need to score a goal. It's like it's brilliant.
Good. Well, it keeps that competitive edge, doesn't it? And keeps you all
Oh,
ahead
it keeps
of the game.
me up at night these
Keeps
days.
you up.
Yeah, especially knowing that Brayden's in top spot.
No, is it really?
I watch a lot of football. So.
Oh, well,
I'd say for me, or did you want me to answer that one, or you? You're
please.
gonna- I'd say for me, I actually have there's a tabletop game, and I don't play the tabletop game, but it's called Warhammer, and it's
Okay.
they have the people in the back rooms that are doing all the different stuff. Anyways, behind the game is a whole series of books, like a massive series. I think the first half has 40 books, the second half has like 60 books. I'm on book 22 of the first half, so that's my. So it's kind of a fantasy book series. I'd
what's
say
it
that's mine.
about? What does it do?
We need another podcast for me
would
to kind
we?
of get, but it's
Right, I'll
basically
Google it.
yeah,
Warhammer.
it's basically just a fantasy of the world 30,000 years in the future, and then it goes
interesting.
40,000 years in the future, and anyways, so I really enjoy it.
Very
I think it's
good.
very good
Well, that's
fantasy
good.
books. So.
And is there going on from that a book, a podcast, a movie that's inspired either of you?
Yeah, do you know what? In the business world, I've read books like The Chimp Paradox, Dale Carnegie's How to Make Friends and Influence People. But the one that really sticks out for me, and it was something that I read when I was really, early teens, was Anthony Robbins' Ultimate Power. And it really resonated with me because it's about neurolinguistic programming.
Okay, yeah.
But the takeaway from that book that I took is, if you give out positivity, you receive positivity. And I've always believed in it. And it's the way that in business, we give positivity to our clients in terms of, them making money. We're always good to our suppliers, and what that means is we also get positivity back from them.
Well, you do get what you give. That's the age-old saying, isn't it? So whatever you give is going to come back to you tenfold. So, I might read that.
Yeah, it's good.
What about you, Brayden?
2 books, actually. When I started the business, it was Shoe Dog, which is about Phil Knight and his struggles basically getting Nike from, when he was just importing shoes from Japan to when he actually went public.
Okay.
And I actually reference back to that book a lot in terms of just the fears he went through, the physical emotions he went through. It's an incredible story. But I would say the book that changed and has probably made us the most millions is Good to Great.
Okay.
Yeah, which is obviously by an American author, but it is fantastic. And if you are starting a business and you really intend for that business to be something incredible, then I would subscribe to the principles of that book above any other that I've read currently.
Well, that's good to know. I'll put a little link on for the audience members and they can get it. Well, listen, we're pretty much done. I really appreciate you both coming in, explaining to us a little bit more about the company, where you both come from, how you're building, growing, scaling. Is there anything you want to add as a sort of final sign-off about Launch Fulfilment UK?
Yeah, and I think we've touched on this, but, bad fulfillment costs you money. Good fulfillment saves you money. Premium fulfillment makes you money.
That's a good note to end it on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you both for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.